5.
The favorite day of the week, hopefully for everybody.
Yes.
It's a great day. We are back with you, of course, every Wednesday at 6. We're doing some fun stuff today, more hands-on.
Yes, I see a lot of people already very interested. And make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. If you're on YouTube, hit them notifications. We got a fun episode today. Tell them about what we're going to do today. We
are going to actually spot feed and broadcast feed the coral in the FRAG 105.4. Recently ended a 10-week build with there. So we're going to go in and actually show you some techniques, some food, and all that good stuff.
Corals are ready to eat.
They are. They're ready to eat. There are a lot of LPS. It's a great selection.
Yeah.
So
it sounds kind of weird that they're ready to eat.
They are, you know.
Corals do that.
They got to do it.
I do have some news, Jess.
We got to do the intro first.
We do.
Like, share, subscribe. What is happening?
It's an off week.
All right. Like, share, subscribe, and roll the intro. We got this figured out. Okay,
we do. I think we're good. We're good now. We've recouped. Okay. So guys, next week. So this week we're jumping into the feeding the corals. Next week we're actually going to be jumping back into the 220.6 Dream build.
Yes, we've been away from it for a while. We've had so many other things going on with the Marine X and the FRAG and all these different series. 220 has not been shown in a while, and it's going to get a little bit of loving next week.
It is. So we're going to show you guys that. It's been so long since we've even put it on the show.
It has.
And we got a lot of maintenance and stuff we've got to do on that. So we're going to show you how we're going to jump into that.
That's going to be a good one next week.
If you guys haven't been following along, recently we released the new Marine X series. If you haven't seen that, hop on our website, check it out.
That is shipping soon. I can't wait to see these out there. We did the release and shown the one we have here in the studio a couple weeks in a row, and that thing is beautiful. It's doing awesome, so everyone's gonna be really happy with the Marine X for sure.
Yes, they are. It's beautiful. We got one over here, which you guys, again, if you hop back a few episodes, and you can actually see the 110.4 on one of our live streams. If you're in the Europe, UK, or Canada, make sure you hop on those websites. For Europe, you can head to waterboxaquariumseu.com, as well as waterboxaquariums.co.uk. Financing in Europe as well as Canada coming soon.
Yeah.
The Canadian website is not open just yet, but it will be towards the end of the month. And if you guys are looking to finance an aquarium, because I've seen a lot of people looking for it, we are going to be partnered with PayBright. So you'll be able to pay in 4, you'll be able to pay in up to 36 months as well.
That's very exciting for Canada. That's coming next few months, and it's going to be ready to go. For us up there, financing, all that. So I know there's a ton of people that are extremely happy to hear this news. They are just counting down the days until it's available.
They are. Canada, our Canadian friends have been very patient.
Yes.
And we finally have a warehouse in Toronto. The website's going to be launching in the next few weeks, and it's going to be good.
Yes. I had someone asking what we're drinking. So I'm going to say it's margarita time for me.
I have vodka today.
Okay. We got rum and Coke can.
Coke's at the
We've got
control
all kinds of
deck over
goodies.
here.
I pretty much always a margarita. I think you change it up sometimes.
I do want to say, too, we didn't script this part, but we got Keenan with us, and we also got Brian, who just started with us recently. So congratulations to Brian. So they're back there behind the scenes making the magic happen. So welcome.
Keenan's got an extra set of hands going on here.
Yeah.
So lots of great things just all around.
Yes. Lots of cool things. Very busy here at Waterbox.
Yes, and it's time to feed some corals. Woo! Hello. Didn't do it justice that far out, but you're going to see all these corals pretty up close and personal as we get them fed. So we really made this more of an LPS kind of dominated system.
Yeah.
And one thing about LPS is they love to be fed. And they're going to grow the best. They're going to have the best color with regular feeding. So we've actually, and we've kind of talked about this the other week, we moved a lot of the fish out of here. We have so many tanks and new builds. They've kind of been around. So that we want to focus on like spot feeding and growing the LPS and kind of having one of those systems. Still got shrimp and a few things in there. And we're going to show you different techniques, broadcast feeding, spot feeding, food choices. And we were lucky enough to have Reef Nutrition actually send us some food that we've been using and also do some giveaways. So,
yes, so we're giving away 2 of these today, right?
3.
2 pack? 3. Oh, goodness.
3 of them.
Wow. So all
which will be
these
shipped
foods
to
plus
the
swag.
winner from Reef Nutrition. And also, I think, a little bit of swag from them as well. So it's very exciting. You can check out their website. They got YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. Check them out. If you haven't heard of them, you'll probably see this food a lot of times at your local fish store as well.
Yeah, you can't buy this from us, but I do see this at, I would say, most of the local fish stores that I go to.
Yeah, it's definitely very popular. It's a great food. A lot of fresh live food as well available. So real quick, we can kind of go look through the food that we're going to be using on here. So this is actually some pellets we have, and this is the TDO Chroma Boost. And this can be for fish and also like spot feeding corals. I'm actually going to use it to spot feed some corals because pellets stink really nice and it's easier for the coral to eat.
They're good for LPS too. They give a good feeding response. With
so you can use pellets for feeding fish and your corals, which a lot of people would not think of. You have the Phyto-Feast, so phytoplankton, which is that green algae that grows on your glass a little bit. Natural filter feeding food here. You've got Oyster-Feast, actually like oyster eggs and tissue, and smells
Yummy.
very salty,
Sounds
fishy.
delicious.
Yeah, corals do love it. Fish will actually eat it too. Tigger-Pods, which is a good one for your fish, especially some small ones that need like little mandarins and scooters and anthias and stuff.
And these are live pods, correct?
Yeah, so the Tigger-Pods are actually alive in here. And you're going to see them just running around. Fish love these things, so it's a good treat for them.
Is that the same thing as sea monkeys, when you were a kid?
I never grew that.
Oh, those are brine shrimp, right?
Yeah, I think those are brine shrimp.
Yeah.
My parents never bought me a sea monkey kit.
I think I had a kit, and I don't know that it ever worked out the way that it said it was going to. So.
You can save yourself and go to the store and buy some live brine shrimp, and you got some sea monkeys. So, and then we have R.O.E, which is actual like fish eggs and all that stuff here. So, and we have some other stuff we're going to spot feed with. So this is actually all that comes in the giveaway, and some swag and stuff from Reef Nutrition for the winners. And I don't know
I'm going to give away a couple of these towels at the end too, so make sure you guys stick around because we're giving away again 3 of these packs with Reef Nutrition swag, a couple towels, all that good stuff. If you guys have not seen the series on this tank that we're about to show you, we have a whole 10-part series on setting up a reef tank. So
yes, so
definitely
this is
go check that out.
And this was all done with the worldwide coral.
Yes.
So you're gonna see some really pretty stuff in there, and everything's been doing really good. But they want to eat. There's another thing also to bring up is because we don't really have fish in here, there's not a lot of natural waste.
Yeah.
So with that being the case, your fish and their waste makes a natural food source for corals. So by not having that, we have to be very sure that we're spot feeding them to get good growth and keep good color and stuff like that. So that's what we're going to do today, and we're going to show you some different ways to do it.
Yeah, let's do it. These guys are excited to go see it. If you guys want to know how we knew the corals wanted to eat, it's because they told us they did.
They did. They talked to us. That might be just because of happy hour, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that we might be hallucinating. I'm not really sure.
All right, so
look at that beautiful tank.
I know, it looks so beautiful.
This is one of my favorite tanks, Jess, because we got all the Ecotech equipment on it. We got the Radions, we got the MP40s, the Versa, the Nio skimmer.
Yeah, it's got everything on it. Definitely check out the series if you haven't, because it shows how to set up all that stuff of some of the best equipment. So first of all, thing we're going to do is just kind of talk about broadcast feeding. And this is what most people would know best, is basically broadcast feeding is you are just putting it into the water column. The flow is taking it around the tank on its own, and that's that. And that is pretty common for soft corals, because they don't have big mouths to actually take larger chunks of food. So you're gonna find that broadcast feeding, if you have like a full softy tank, is your main way you're gonna do it. And like here, I'm gonna use some of the Phyto-Feast. I'm just gonna kind of show you. So phytoplankton's like a brown-green.
If you guys have any questions while we're live, post them below. When we get back in the studio, we'll do our best to answer as many as we can.
Yeah. So there's your phyto, and phytoplankton is vegetable matter versus meat, which would be like your eggs and mysis and stuff like that. So this is a good part of, very important for soft corals, we find. And we do have zoos and stuff in here, even though we're predominantly LPS. We do have some zoanthids in here that'll appreciate that. The shrimp are saying, what is up? Are you ready to feed me? And then otherwise, I'm gonna use Oyster-Feast. which can also be done as a broadcast feed. It's a little bit thicker, so you want to get into some good flow. I'm going to get the vortex here, along with the return line, kind of kicking it out. And there's some small, a little bit, larger chunks as it gets broken up, but it is a filter feeder, and you can take this and use it for spot feeding as well, since it's got a little bit thicker consistency to it. And the nice thing about this is you'll find like a lot of your LPS corals, acans, the Bower bankies, all that kind of stuff, like they have feeder tentacles. So putting in like the broadcast food actually gets their feeder tentacles out and gets them ready to take actually and grab the food itself. So what we're gonna do is actually I'm gonna turn the vortex off because there's less flow when we're spot feeding to give the corals a chance to actually like eat them. And you can also turn off your turn pump if you wanted to. If you want to take it down to no flow and give them like a lot of time.
Jess, can you overfeed corals? That's a question coming in from Sean.
Yes, if you put too much food in here, it's just going to become waste product and it's going to cause your water to be dirtier. So overfeeding is just like overfeeding a fish. It's going to make your nutrients much higher in the tank. Now, will a coral, like, can you overfeed a coral physically? I don't think so. They'll just take as much as they can. But it's more about nutrient load within the system.
So your water quality will suffer.
Yes, your water quality, just like if you overfeed your fish, it's going to be the same thing with your corals. I usually, if I'm going to do like a big feeding, like we're going to do today to kind of show, I'm going to do a water change tomorrow. So plan it around your maintenance schedule so that you can make sure your water quality stays good. All right, so I'm going to show you kind of here. There you go. Something with a little bit bigger chunk. So I'm using a larger fish type food that has a mix of different types of like frozen, like squid and krill, and they have some bigger chunks like this. Now, if you look at like these Bower bankies and stuff, these little tiny white lines coming around, those are actually little feeder tentacles. And you can place these bigger chunks in there. And now that you've put some of that broadcast food in, they've got those out, and you're trying to keep your shrimp away. Shrimp aren't as bad as your fish, but they will still try and take your food. Usually they can't handle too much. And I have something to show you for that, but I'm gonna try and get some, see, these guys are on here like wanting the food. They're gonna take a piece. There you go. I mean, he's pretty set. So for these type, you got some acans over here. Their feeder tentacles are out. If their feeder tentacles aren't out, a lot of times the food is just going to float away. They don't have any ability to grab it. So do to make sure to kind of get your corals prepped for spot feeding. There you go. The shrimp wants some. And then each shrimp is gonna have to take a handful. There we go. So we're gonna give like this one here. And like every single mouth on a coral doesn't have to have any pieces, but look at this one, it's overtaking and like enveloping that food. It's really cool to watch. And these other ones here are like, their feeder tentacles are really open because they sense the food in the water. And that shrimp wants to take.
Jess, we got Patty here with us. She says she's watching this while getting everything ready to set up her 6th water box.
Wow. Something I've talked about in previous shows is making like a cover for when you're spot feeding your coral, especially if you have a lot of fish in here. So we just took a small Gatorade bottle, and it really depends on how big your corals and where they are. A lot of times it's easier if you have like a sandbed coral, but you can take something like this and actually put it over your coral, especially ones that need to feed a lot. If you've got fish and stuff like that that are real big problems, you can even put it over it and put your turkey baster down or your tongs down in the middle of it and feed the corals. But not having fish in here allows it to be not quite as much of a hassle to feed the corals.
Jess
but
dropping
just
the
to show
knowledges.
The knowledge is.
That's a really cool trick, though.
I
like
always
that.
have talked about it when we do our feeding shows, but it's like this one I physically really need to show it. So we got like a Lobo over here. He's got his feeder tentacles out. He wants to eat. So you see, no matter how precise you are, food goes floating, which is why kind of, do it around water change time. so that you're getting some of that excess nutrients out. One of my favorite corals over here, Blastos. I don't know if they'll be able to take that big of a chunk though. Might have to go smaller.
Russ says, are those forceps or chopsticks?
Just little, I don't know,
Like
forcep
tongs,
thing,
right?
tong
Like,
kind of thing.
Tweezers.
Yeah,
kinda
long
like big
tweezers.
tweezers.
So I'm actually gonna put a bigger chunk in our frog spawn because they will actually take this stuff, and they do have mouths, so they can take some spot feeding as well.
I think those are like there's a sea chem kit, right?
I think it might have been for like a freshwater planted, thing. It's
Yeah.
got some long tweezers to plant stuff. I think that's where these came from, but it works nice for this kind of stuff. So I don't know if you can see all these. Come over here, Keenan. I don't know if you can see. Check out these feeder tentacles on this bower banky right up front. You can see, like this guy, he is like, I'm hungry, please give me more. And it's pretty amazing the amount of the size of food that these little corals can eat. So this is kind of a good way to do it for larger LPS corals, bower bankies, acans, lobos. No, come back. I just kind of set it on there. And you see the shrimp nut, they got their piece each. I've kind of just run off.
That bower banky is nice.
Yeah, that thing is like chowing. So that's for some of our bigger colonies. From our smaller ones, like we got a colony of acans in there that have a lot of smaller heads. I'm actually going to use the Reef Nutrition pellets because they will sink on. I'm coming this way.
Which way?
That way.
Go ahead.
All right, so this one here, his heads are too small to really put big chunks of food into. So something like this, and if you do it in a turkey baster, I just soak the pellets for a minute. You can kind of just gently drop a few on each head, and they're gonna be easier for this kind of coral to grab. And some will float away. It's the only benefit when you do have fishes, they'll take the extra, but they also steal all of it. Your crabs and stuff are going to be happy to eat. So you can see each head's got a couple pellets, and they're gonna be able to grab that. And there we go. And you can use that on any of your smaller lobos, smaller acans. You can even use it on some of your little side heads on our bower bankies that aren't as big. So these guys here have some small heads. So that's for your bigger stuff there. Actually, I need another cup.
Keenan, I will say that the lens looks really great.
It looks really good.
Yeah, so if you guys have been watching, we've been asking you guys where we can find a good lens for a DSLR, and we finally found a few that work pretty well. So that's what you're seeing here today. You can see the colors popping really nicely. Looks a lot more like what you see physically.
Yeah, it definitely is much, much better. So I'm actually going to take now the fish eggs from Reef Nutrition. Since these are broadcast feed, which you can spot feed, you just mix with a little bit of water. So it's got a little bit thicker consistency, but it's still usable. So this is gonna be good for stuff that has smaller mouth, like chalices and things like that. They have a really small mouth, but they still do well from having some extra food put on them. So you're just gonna and they have little tiny feeder tentacles. You're not gonna see too much. You can just kind of coat the top here. And they're gonna take in what they can. The rest is gonna get put around the tank and be broadcast fed. You can do this for zoos, some of your bigger pallies and stuff too. But, so it's got a thicker consistency. And then the rest will broadcast feed. You can actually see the little eggs in there.
Jess, what were the white chunks that you were feeding?
That was a frozen pack mix, actually from Worldwide Corals. And it was, probably going to be chunks of squid and just miscellaneous seafood that's in those packs chopped up, and a little bit of algae, krill, a little bit of coral food, that kind of stuff. So
someone also asked, which lens did you find to be the best? Scott, I'll try to post that in the comments later, which lens we actually ended up buying.
All right, I know every time we do like a feeding thing, people say, wow, you put too much food in here, but we're showing you so that this, generally this much wouldn't go in at one time. But you can see like everyone has gotten spot feeding if they can take it, otherwise they're gonna broadcast feed from a lot of it, like leathers and stuff, they're gonna feed off that, phytoplankton, and like really small particles that you put in. The bowerbankies are gonna eat those big chunks of stuff. And then small things like chalices, they have little mouths, but they can't take in big pieces, so they'll take some of that. I just love seeing bowerbankies eat. Like, if you have a like a brain coral or like a scalemia,
Yeah.
those things will like completely
Like
mound up
turn
over
inside,
like a
yeah.
piece of fish, like something huge.
Yeah.
It's amazing the size of food that a coral can actually eat. So, gives you kind of idea of like different food options. You know, get in there, and especially with LPS, if you spot feed them like this, they're going to grow so much faster. They're going to have better color. You know, overall, it's just going to be more successful for you. They'll survive without feeding, but they're going to thrive
Yeah.
when you actually spot feed
We
them.
got a lot of good questions in here too that we can take once we get back in the studio.
Okay. I'm going to let the corals eat. And then once everything's done, we'll turn the MP40s back on, get the flow kicking in there, but we don't want to do that until all of the food is consumed. Otherwise, it's just going to blow around.
End up in the skimmer.
In the skimmer, in the sock, it's going to be
Yeah.
pointless. The corals will still be hungry. You don't want to do that.
Head back in and switch to
Mm-hmm. So again, if you guys have questions, post them below. We'll try to get to them. There's a number of good questions already in here, so we appreciate you guys posting those.
No goodness.
Don't
It's going everywhere.
get sick. That was
All
the
right,
closest
there we
camera
go.
shot that I could go to. I like this shot though because you can see we can watch the corals eat while we talk, take some questions.
There you go, zoom it on
Make sure you guys
in.
stick around to the end again because we are giving away 3 packs of Reef Nutrition food plus
Yep.
a Reef Nutrition shirt and something else. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah. It's just one thing. There's a whole thing they gave that they're doing so
here
much
it
as
is.
far as giveaways.
A shirt and a hat.
Wow. I mean, people love those things.
Yeah, you gotta
to
stick
get food
around.
and everything. So we do want to say also, you know, for the winners, just get in touch with us whenever we do the announcement. Claim
Yes.
it right away.
Yeah. When we announce the winners, make sure you guys get in touch with us within 48 hours so that we can get you set up.
All right. We have questions, you say? We have good ones?
We do. Keita, can you grab me a couple of questions? I'm going to look through here and see what I can find as well.
Yeah, sure. 1 second.
I do want to say here, the giveaway is just for the U.S. because that's the only place that they ship to. So
Yeah, I did see some questions about that.
yes,
So if you
just
are
to be on the
outside the
safe
U.S.,
side,
because it's refrigerated.
they're shipping direct from themselves, so they're in charge of that, and it will be U.S. only. So
How many times a week should you feed your corals is Granny Reefer's asking.
I would say broadcast feed, when you're just going to put it into a water column, do that a couple times a week. If you've got
Yeah.
a decent coral load, actually going in there and spot feeding, I mean, usually once a week is good. If you've got some really hungry corals that you're trying to get to grow a little bit faster, and especially like scolemias and brains and stuff, you may want to do it 2 or 3 times a week, but keep an eye on your water quality because the more food you put in there, it doesn't matter if it's for a coral or a fish, equals waste, equals nitrates, equals
Yep.
dirty water. So, you know, make sure to keep an eye out on that. It's just like feeding fish.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's,
Tina?
that's a big thing to think about.
Steve is asking, how long do you keep the pumps in feed mode for when you're feeding the corals?
So for keeping the pump in feed mode, it really just depends on how long it takes the coral to eat it. I mean, some things like, you know, blastos can probably take a little bit longer to eat their chunk of food than it does for like a bowerbanky or an acan. So you want to just kind of, in general, keep it, I mean, 30 minutes or so is probably about average when you feed everything. Let them completely eat. Then they're going to be digesting and they'll open back up when they're done. But if you do it when the food's still just sitting there, it's just going to get blown off because their feeder tentacles aren't that strong.
I got to read this one. Lefty Left says, I was going to buy one of your competitors' tanks, but I love in Waterbox more and more. My next tank will be a Waterbox. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We will welcome you
Yay!
graciously to the Waterbox family, so that's awesome.
That is awesome. Yes.
David is asking, what non-invasive corals would you recommend for a beginner?
Okay, so non-invasive corals. I don't think any corals are really invasive. It depends on what you want to do with the tank. If you don't want it to be a soft coral tank only, then you do have to be pretty careful with what you pick, because things like star polyps and clove polyps and xenia will grow really, really fast, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But if you've got a smaller tank and you want to do SBS and all these ACANs and stuff, don't put those in to begin with, because it's going to take over a lot of space and then you won't have the space for your corals. But I think a soft coral tank with leathers and star polyps and xenia is awesome, easy to care for, and really nice movement and stuff. So it really depends on what you want to do with the tank. If you don't want many soft corals, just don't start with anything but really zoos and stuff here and there.
Yeah. I love me some soft corals. Star polyps, green star polyps, who loves those?
That is your favorite.
If you do, post them in the comments.
Yeah.
D-Max is asking, how often should you feed your corals?
And we just did that one. So, like, yeah.
Sorry.
As another one. Broadcast feeding a couple times a week, and spot feeding 1 to 2 times a week, depending on your bio load and like what you can have for waste. Something like that. So.
Excellent.
He said, this one, do you do a variety of foods for different coral species? I kind of just group it into groups as far as soft corals, LPS, and SBS. I didn't even talk about SBS corals because they just broadcast feed.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because someone did mention the best food for those too.
Yes,
so you can jump into that.
I take it by category. So soft corals in general, leather, zoos, xenia, they're going to be filter feed. Like zoanthus and pallies can take small chunks of food. They do have a mouth. But in general, it's broadcast feeding, or kind of just like saturate feed them.
Yeah.
For SBS, it's kind of the same. They have very small polyps. They don't really have the ability to eat any chunks, so that's all broadcast feeding and a lot of light. And then LPS are the ones that like to eat the most.
Yeah.
So.
Good stuff.
AJ's asking, are you supposed to spot feed anemones too?
Yes, big time. Because they're an invert and they are carnivores. And they want to eat. That's chunks of krill, chunks of silverside. That's big, meaty food.
Yeah.
And do that. I mean, depending on how fast you want them to grow and split. But I mean, you could feed them every day or two.
Yeah.
But it's still waste product.
Yep.
So.
Knowledge is Keenan.
Clyde said, Rich.
I was seeing if you were paying attention.
No, okay. I have to do this one from Clyde. He said, Richard needs a branching GSP. You do.
I do. Our good friend TranFan has some. I'm waiting for a frag.
Just send it.
Yeah.
You know where I will give you the address. Send us some branching GSP. We will put that in all of our tanks. TranFans is awesome.
If you guys haven't seen it, head over to our Facebook group. If you haven't joined our Facebook group, definitely do it. We have almost 9,000, as we call them, family in there.
Yeah, that's happened fast.
So we'd love to have you guys there. You can get in there, you can talk to the members, you can learn about different techniques, what works for our members, so on and so forth.
But yeah, check out TranFan.
It's not just for saltwater. We also got our freshwater owners in there as well.
We do. Quite a few, actually. A lot of clears being set up and stuff. A lot of freshwater owners. But, you know, TranFan, we're calling you out. We'd like some branching GSP, please.
Come on, Tran.
I know you're watching. Okay.
Don't be stingy. Don't be stingy.
All right.
Ask Jess. It's time for that segment.
It is. I wasn't ready. Yeah,
we're ready.
Let's do it. All right. Ask Jess. We do it every week.
Every week.
We're here.
Yeah, every week we're here doing something, talking about stuff. I don't know. So every week we have a segment called Ask Jess. If you're new here, you can email in your questions to askjess@waterboxaquariums.com, and she will personally either bring them here live with us to answer, or she'll answer them outside of the live stream. So if you want to get them answered live, email askjess@waterboxaquariums.com. It's a great resource.
Yeah, get the knowledges.
Yeah, get your
I got too
knowledges.
many of them. Let's spread the knowledges.
She's got far too many knowledges, and she wants to share them. All right, so the first question is from Robert. He says, hey, Jess, I've always used canister filters and would be curious about how you would set up the sump after the filter socks. It would be a delicate balance to keep saltwater people happy while talking freshwater on the show. We love freshwater too. We are pretty saltwater heavy.
I know.
Thanks again. Oh, let me back it up. It says on the show, but he appreciates the knowledges.
Hey, there
See?
we go.
See?
Yes, I'm going to give some love to the freshwater questions because we
Yeah.
do. We love freshwater. Well, freshwater side of it is growing
Keenan loves
tremendously.
freshwater.
So
We all do.
I know all our tanks here that we focus on are kind of saltwater, but we got freshwater love too. And we've set up our sump systems as freshwater before. Our 6-foot peninsula is freshwater now, and it's pretty simple. I keep the filter socks because they're going to polish your water and clean it up. And then really in that middle chamber, we have some bacteria blocks, so you have extra biological. Because in
Yeah.
a freshwater, there's not a ton of biological. And if you're doing something like African cichlids, you're gonna have a lot of fish in there. It's a lot of waste, so those are good. And then we have a NIOS torque reactor to run our carbon and GFO and stuff like that. And then it goes to the return pump. It's really simple. You could put more reactors in there and stuff like that. We do have a UV sterilizer that runs through the middle
Yeah.
section. So it's like really you're just not running a protein skimmer. You can set it up the exact same way for freshwater. There's just no protein skimmer. And
Yeah.
then other than that, it's just the same thing.
That's the
But you're
reality.
gonna
They
get
work
more-
fantastic for it. I just got a question the other day about the Marine X. Can I use it for freshwater? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
More turnover, more water volume. You got the socks, because canisters are very low volume in comparison to like a
Yeah.
sump. As long as you're not doing something that needs low flow, you're pretty good. So.
Yeah. Excellent. So thank you for that question, Robert. Next question comes from Mike. He says, "Hi, Jess. I really want to purchase 2 of the Vectra S2 return pumps, one to use in the aquarium and one to use for his saltwater mixing station, but also to use as a backup for his aquarium return pump if need be. My question is, since I plan on constructing my saltwater mixing station with 1.25-inch PVC pipes, would it be okay to use PVC reducers to be able to fit the Vectra input-output fittings, which are a bit smaller, or would it change the pipe diameter, damage the pumps? Any advice would be greatly appreciated."
So for that one because it isn't kind of important, is whenever you have a return pump, Vectra or not, like you don't want to reduce the intake because it does put strain onto the pump itself. And then basically if you have, like he's going to do, is going to have a greater PVC that the pump's going into, is you're going to cut back your flow amount because it's going to have less pressure.
Yeah.
Probably head height and all that stuff's going to go down. For this one here, for like really specifics on like how far are you pumping and your mixing vats, I'd probably say, reach out to Ecotech and see what they say. But if you can keep your PVC the same size as your in and out on a pump, the better off you are. You're going to put less stress on the pump.
Yep.
So.
Excellent question. Excellent question. So thank you for that, Mike. The next question comes from Ray. He says, "Hey, Jess, the lights that come with the Marine X, do they still use the My AI app blueprint like the FRAG tanks? Thanks."
Yeah, so all of our tanks have a blueprint that you can use with them. Thought this is good because it's what we use on the Marine and is basically just pick your time schedule. We have blueprints, just load it up. You pick when you want it on, boom, and it's done by type of tank, fish only, soft corals,
Yep.
mixed, SBS. Takes all the guesswork out of it.
Yeah,
So,
super easy.
Yes.
If you guys
super.
want to find those, you hop over to, whether it be the Cube, Reef, or whatever model, scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page. There's a section called Blueprints. You can download either a fish-only soft coral or mixed reef blueprint.
Yep. So you're good to go. No questions on that one.
And that's Ask Jess, you guys. If you want to get your questions answered live, again, we're here every week doing this. Email askjess@waterboxaquariums.com.
All right.
And you'll get your knowledges.
Get your knowledges every Wednesday, 6 p.m.
Yes.
There's our tank.
We're going to have a t-shirt for that soon. I
Do we-
guarantee it.
And we need to find out if people want that.
Yeah, they do.
I think
They-
so.
they
They
do.
do.
Add it to Asana.
Even if they don't, yeah, even
As
if they
a
do,
task, all
even if they
right.
don't, they do. So I'll wear it,
I mean, if we give them away and we
Yeah,
put them
maybe
up.
you guys will get some free knowledges t-shirts.
I think it should be, I got my knowledges from Waterbox.
Yes.
Like, I think that'd be pretty cool. We kind of started a trend with that name. So the corals, you can see the Banky still has some food sticking
Munching
out of
down.
him, but he's working on it. And you can't wait till like tomorrow. These corals will be so fat and happy and open. Makes a big difference when you spot feed them. So,
That it does.
Christine, I was
Sorry.
reading this one. So,
Was that just totally random?
Here's the problem when we try to
I'm,
read the comments, but I had to read this one. Christine says, how do you hide your spending on corals from your spouse? Laugh out loud. You need separate accounts. And I know when I had a fish tank.
Yeah, open your own bank account.
Yeah.
I don't know.
When I had a fish tank, like especially like my first ones, and I was getting into this, I just came home with fish and corals and was like, it was $5. It was $10. You know, you just avoid the question, kind of, and then get like some secret bank account for your fish tank because you're gonna need it.
Love it.
Yes.
All right, guys. So again, we're giving away 3, right? 3.
The rest of it's out there, but yes, 3 of these packs, and then some swag from Reef Nutrition. So.
And we do have the winners drawn for the 3 packs.
All right, let's do it.
All righty. So on YouTube, we got Clyde Mascacero.
All right.
Woo! Congratulations, my friend. Again, all of you guys email us or call support within 48 hours to claim these prizes. Also on YouTube, we have Evan Yao.
Woo! Congratulations, Evan.
Congratulations, Evan. That's awesome. On Facebook, we have Jeff Todd.
All right. Congratulations, Jeff.
And I'm going to randomly pick some towel people.
Okay. You're going to keep people busy here.
Yeah, they like the they like the towels. You know, I even saw someone say earlier, you can never have enough towels for an aquarium, which
This
is
is really true. It is.
Yeah, these are great for like wiping down your glass and stuff. It's not obviously going to clean up very much water. Let's see here. I'm going to give a towel over to Lefty Left.
From YouTube,
So
all right.
on YouTube,
Lefty
so congratulations for that.
All right.
Who else we got in here?
That's on Facebook, view?
Yeah, I'm going to give another towel on Facebook to Chad Clayton. So congratulations, Chad. 5 giveaways today. I think that's a record.
Insane. Yeah, I think that should be enough of giving things away. We want to thank you.
Just for today.
We want to thank you for Reef Nutrition for sending us the goodies and hooking us up with some giveaways. Definitely check them out if you aren't one of the winners. Go to their website, check them out. Great food.
Yeah,
we always appreciate
reefnutrition.com.
them. Yep, always
It's in the
appreciate
comment or in the description below.
that. Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff.
Yes.
And then next week we are getting really dirty.
We are
with the
getting
220.
dirty. Yeah.
We've got some major maintenance to do on it, and we're gonna kind of show you like almost overhaul kind of scenario on a large aquarium. So it's gonna be really educational, knowledges, hands-on.
Lots of knowledges, and this tank's been up now. I'm gonna guess 2 years.
As close to 2 years.
Close
It's
to 2
gotta
years.
be, yeah.
So this thing's been maturing, as we call it, for a very long time. The corals have grown out like crazy. Stuff's encrusting all over the place. There's new things that you got to deal with when a tank gets a little bit more mature that you wouldn't have to deal with early on. So we're going to show you all of that. We're going to do some overhauling. We're going to change some things around.
Yep.
You guys are going to get to see that all live.
It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go next week.
Yeah.
See you then.
Thanks, guys.